Hi, I'm Bob Rotella, your One Club coach, and we're going to share some thoughts on the mental game to help you with your game. Common question that I hear a lot is, how do you handle fear that you face on the golf course? Well, first of all, that's really the difference between hitting balls on a practice facility or a driving range from playing golf on a golf course. When you get on a golf course, there's out of bounds, there's water hazards, there's trouble of different kinds and various hazards. So I mean, fear is a real thing you have to deal with. First thing I say to people is, it's impossible to be courageous if at first you weren't afraid. So there's never been a human being who didn't have some fear, and you're basically battling hope with fear, and you'd like to get to the point where hope rules rather than fear. The simplest way I can say it is you'd like to get your eyes and your mind locked into your target or where you want the ball to go. When you're afraid, you're thinking about where you don't want it to go. So I really want people to get their eyes and their mind locked into their target. And it doesn't really matter if the target is some small target. And when I say small target, I want it small enough that you can see it without squinting. I don't want you to have to squint to see it, but I want it as small as possible. And ideally, if on a tee shot, it'd be something up in the air rather than something on the ground, so that we can take the ground out of your vision. It's fascinating how people think, well, the reason I'm afraid is because I don't have a very good swing. And I always tell people, well, how would it help you to think poorly just because you have a mediocre swing? In other words, you can always think as good as a pro. The ball just might not go where you're looking as frequently as it does with a tour player, but you can make up your mind that you're going to at least get your mind in the right place on every shot. And that's really the key. Now the next step is to get yourself a really good pre-shot routine that allows you to practice every day, getting your mind into where you want the ball to go. And that's a big key. In an ideal world, I'd like your routine to be as short as possible. In teaching it, you tell people, well, the first thing is, are you going to stand next to the golf ball or behind the ball when you're preparing for a shot? Most of the players stand behind the ball. So rule number one is, don't ever walk up to the ball until you've picked your club, picked your target, seen the shot you want clearly in your mind, and are totally clear and committed that the ball is going to your target. That's all I want you thinking about, is seeing the shot you want. Step two is, now you've got to walk from behind the ball up to the ball without getting distracted or wandering or wavering. A lot of people do a good job behind the ball, and then they mess up walking into the ball. So do the job behind the ball, get it clear and committed. Step two is walking up to the ball, staying clear and committed with no wandering or wavering, just totally committed to seeing the shot you want. Step three is over the ball. I'd like you to get a really good simple routine with one or two looks, one or two waggles, and then go. I don't like a lot of time between the last look at the target and the start of your swing. That's when a lot of people mess up. Right when it's time to start moving their body, they want to start thinking. I want people to be reacting to the target or to the picture of the ball flight of the target. And then after you hit it, the last part of the routine is to totally accept the shot wherever it goes, because you did everything you could possibly do. The final thing I'd say about fear is, golf is a game of mistakes, which was the title of my first book. And the reason we wrote that book with that title is because if you play golf, you might hit 4 shots a day that go exactly where you're looking. And so you got to accept the fact that you're going to miss a lot of shots. Good players learn to score, even though they don't hit all of their shots the way they want them to. So it's impossible to be courageous without first being afraid. So everyone's dealing with fear, and to play golf good, you have to get past it. Second of all, you got to get a really good routine behind the ball, walking up to the ball and over the ball, and then you accept it because you did everything you could do. And finally, you just want to say, I want to play golf with a clear mind, and I want to be clear and committed on every shot I play. And if I do that, I have my best chance of scoring my best.
Hi, I'm Phil Kenyon, specialist putting coach, and in this video I'm going to give you a coaching insight which I know is going to help improve your putting. Now, in particular, we're going to talk about attention. Where should our attention be during the putting stroke? Now, if you're working on your mechanics and you're trying to improve your stroke, it's very easy to get very technically minded when you go to the golf course, and you're very much focused internally on how you're moving the putter. Now, ideally, we need to be focused on the target. Golf is a target-based sport, but unfortunately, we have to look at the ball to help us with our execution, but we still want our mind focused on where we want the ball to go. So here's a very simple exercise that you can do to help train what the appropriate focus should be. Now, I've got a putt here, which I can see is a right to left putt, and I've got 3 small discs. Now, we could use ball markers, we could use T-pegs, whatever you want to do. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to place these discs where I think the ball is going to roll through. And I'll place it just slightly to the side so that the ball wouldn't hit these discs. So I can see where the ball is going to enter the hole. So I'm going to place a disc just to the side there. And then I'm going to place the other 2 where I feel the ball would need to roll by in order to go in. Now, what I can see as I stand behind the ball now, I can see this kind of path the ball will take into the hole. So I've got a really strong visual of essentially my target, where the ball's going to pass as it enters the hole. Now, when I step in, you know, I can even have a practice stroke looking at that path. I'm going to align to where I feel I need to start the ball. And then I'm going to look down that line. And then as I come back, although my eyes come back to the ball, I want my attention to go back to this target. So that image of those, to the side of those 3 markers, when my eyes come back to the ball, I'm going to focus back on that image. In my mind's eye, although I'm looking at the ball, I can see that image. And as I connect with that image, I'm then going to pull the trigger, make the stroke, ball passes through that and into the hole. So when I do that well, there's a real freedom to my stroke. I really feel connected to my target, and that's going to allow my mechanics to come through. Like I say, it's so easy when you're working on improving your technique to become perfectionistic about your stroke, but really we want to try and be reactionary. And this is a great practice drill to help build a really strong image that you can then try and connect to develop that awareness of where your attention is. Obviously, after doing this several times, what you then need to do is to practice reading a putt, and even just try and find a blemish that the ball would roll through, a point on the cup where there's some discoloration or a blemish. Focus on those points, step in, connect to those points and hit.
Hi, I'm Alex Elliott. I'm here with One Club. I'm going to show you exactly how you should be gripping the golf club. Now, there's a few things we need to look out for. Is the club in our fingers, and how many knuckles are we showing on our glove hand? I've also got a few little tricks that you can use on the range just to make sure you've got it dialed in all the time. Let's talk about hand placement to start with. So let's make sure we've got this club in our fingers. Now, I like to get it lined up here at the base. Now, a great way of doing this is grab that golf club in your non-glove hand, straight up in the sky like this. Tilt it slightly away, I would guess somewhere around a 45-degree angle. You're then going to place it in there like that, right at the base of those fingers, and really make sure this meaty, padded part of our hand is sitting on top. Now, the first little trick, I can't claim this one, Ben Hogan, all the fingers off apart from our first. We should be able to keep the club there. If it falls, it's too much in the palm. So we're really making sure we're looking for the club in the fingers and that meaty part of our hand on top. Now, the second point, this knuckle placement. As you're looking down at this golf club, and have a look at this from sort of my player cam perspective, I'm a big advocate of having 2.5 knuckles on our glove hand. So 1, 2, and just be able to, as you're peeking down, be able to see a little bit of that third. Another little checkpoint, crease between your thumb and your first finger, pointing into your right shoulder. All we then have to do with our right hand is blend that in. So come have a look at this here. We've got those fingers on here. I mean, the fingers again, right in the base, blending it in. Now, I like to interlock this golf club, but I don't mind if you baseball. I don't mind if you overlap. Do what's comfortable for you. The main thing is it's in the fingers, and again, this crease right here points into our right shoulder. This is exactly what we're looking for. So in terms of hand placement, that's all you need to know. And think about this logically. Your grip is your only point of contact with that golf club. So we better make sure we get it right. Right, let's have a look at a few of these tricks we can do here. Now, I just placed the golf club on the ground. With driver, this is going to be good anyway because it's going to help you with ball position. But so we've calibrated your grip to your club face, follow it in this order. Place your club slap bang up against the shaft of your golf club. You'll notice now, looking down on this from my perspective, the top edge of the club is running parallel to the golf club. Go through the order now of club in the fingers. How many knuckles can you see on both hands? And it's now calibrated. There's no point getting a good grip and your club face pointing over here. There's no point. Or over here. So follow that simple routine, club down, in the fingers, check your knuckles on your glove hand first, non-glove hand on, walk into your shot, and you can practice this no matter if you're doing it with an iron. You could use the edge of the range mat, or with a driver, or a fairway wood, or a hybrid. Use the golf club on the ground to make sure the club's square before you place your hands on. And honestly, you'll have so much more control you won't even realise. Oh, and hopefully you get some control just like that with your irons and with your driver. Take this information to the golf course, but first, don't forget to refine it down at the range just to make sure you're comfortable with it, because changing your grip, it's not an easy thing, but once you get it right, you'll start hitting some good shots.
Hi, I'm Hannah Davis and I am your One Club short game coach. In today's lesson, I'm going to be talking you through what shots to play, what club to choose. So let's start first of all. You come up to the green. I want to get that ball on the green as quickly as possible and rolling, because you've got to play percentage golf. If you can put the ball, always put it first. But let's have a look at this situation. We've got 3 flags on the green, playing from the same spot. This is going to be 3 different shots I'm going to play. So first of all, grab your most lofted club, because we're going to be going for this first flag. As you can see, there's so much more rough before the green. So I want to get the ball in the air as long as possible and then along the ground, because we want to ideally land it on the green. So 58 degree, 60 degree, this would be ideal for this shot. It's going to be in the air about 2/3 and roll about 1/3. Okay, so first shot there. Second shot, we're going to go for the flag over here. Now, moving on, there's a lot more green to work with, so we can get this ball on the ground and rolling more. Because the reason for this is, if you land the ball on the green, you have a bit more of an idea of how the ball's going to react, where if you're landing it on the rough or on the fringe, it could take a hard bounce, it could take a soft bounce. We're just wanting to sort of work with something that you know is going to be a bit more reliable. So I've got a pitching wedge in my hand here, and it's because a pitching wedge for me is going to go in the air halfway and roll halfway, which is ideal for this shot. Again, there's a lot more green we can work with here. So landed it halfway, and it's rolled halfway. Final shot. Now, this is the shot where we have got the most green to work with, so we can go on the ratio of 1/3 in the air, 2/3 roll. So I'm going to go for a less lofted club, so we can play a little bit more of a chip and run. So the club I've got here is an 8 iron because that is going to be releasing out a lot more. We're going to be just chipping it just over the trouble in front of us, and then it will be releasing out on the green. So you've got to think of it a little bit more like a putt. So the green's moving left to right here, and we'll just let the club do the work for us.